Joining me now, Dan Perry, former Europe, Africa, and Middle East editor for the Associated Press. Dan, welcome back. Can Israel win the war and also appease the rest of the world as growing concerns mount with what we're seeing in Gaza?
Not so clear. They have multiple goals, and it is in the nature of multiple goals that sometimes not all are attainable, at least not at the same time. They want to remove Hamas from power in Gaza. They want to rescue their hostages, all of them alive. And they want Israel's good standing in the world to be preserved. And it's clear that all three combined may not be achievable. In particular, there's a big debate about whether Israel's continued push into the Hamas stronghold in Khan Yunis, especially, is helping or hindering the cause of getting back the hostages alive. Some would say there's no way Hamas is letting them go until the knife is at their throats, and so you got to push on. Others will say they're going to execute the hostages. The hostages may die in Israeli attacks, and that Israel should prioritize negotiation and pay almost any price. It's a debate.
Right. The Wall Street Journal also reporting that Israel has started to pump seawater into the tunnels, further concerning the family members of the hostages. Is there truth to this? Is it happening? And what are you hearing?
I'm not sure it's happened yet, but this is the discussion. And of course, hostage families are going to want assurance that Israel has rock solid intelligence that there's no hostages down there among with Hamas leaders. And I haven't heard of anything resembling a persuasive guarantee, though I'm sure that their intention is to achieve that, flooding the tunnels without killing their own hostages.
This is not working in Israel's favor either. There have been concerns over Israelis' soldiers' conduct, videos of Israeli soldiers in Gaza destroying food, rummaging through the homes of people who live there.
Claims coming out of Hamas around Gaza or out of the Hezbollah have not historically been credible. Armies do, however, during wartime, sometimes have situations where soldiers commit outrageous acts. I'm not sure that we're going to get to the bottom of these claims. And of course, they could very well be propaganda. Conceivably, they could not be as well. Israel has a bigger issue in an emerging disagreement between President Biden and Netanyahu on both the tactics and the day after.
Right.
I mean, on the tactics, Biden's saying there's too many casualties and your time is running out. But Israel says you can't have both. If you want this to go faster, we'll have to use more power, and that'll cause more deaths because Hamas is entrenched among the civilian population by design. So for Hamas, their own population suffering is a feature and not a bug.
Right. The rift is significant. It will have an impact. And part of the equation is a post-Gaza. What does that look like when this war ends, when the conflict and the fighting stops? Can anyone answer that definitively?
No. I mean, the definitive thing is that there's widespread agreement in Israel and I think in the world about what not to have the day after, and that is Hamas in charge of the unfortunate Gazans anymore. The strength of that conviction, by the way, is evident in the determined way Israel's going about all this. But you do not have agreement on what yes to do after Hamas. You can't have a vacuum. The place is basically destroyed, so you can't expect them to elect a leadership that is going to fix the problem. So you have a number of options. One of them is an international force, which probably would mean a U.S. force, so that becomes real personal, real fast for the viewership. Another is an Arab League force, maybe, but the Arab countries are not exactly lining up. You could have a long-term Israeli occupation, but that would look a lot like the Americans in Iraq, where they faced an insurgency for years and then basically fled. And much of Israel would hate it too. The security establishment in Israel would hate it. So that brings you around to the Biden plan of bringing back the Palestinian Authority. And Netanyahu is making a political issue out of that because there are ways to rubbish the PA and make them look like a bad option in and of themselves. But Israel's choice really is which is the least bad option. For Bibi, he's going to become the Mr. Let's not bring back the PA. That will be his calling card, and he's hoping that will be a way of making the people forget his current calling card, which is that he was in charge of the greatest strategic intelligence and military failure in the history of Israel that caused the biggest single-day loss of life for Jews since the Holocaust.
And as President Biden put it, he has a difficult decision to make. Dan Perry, as always, thank you.